When I needed a place to stay for just 2 weeks, my parents said the house was too full. 2 days later, they gave my old room to my sister's ex, the same guy who cheated on her twice and once called my mom a useless drunk at dinner. When I asked why, my dad said, "Because he's still a better man than you'll ever be." My mom didn't even hesitate. She said, "We trust him more than we'll ever trust you." I just looked at them and said, "Understood. Don't expect a knock on your door ever again." Later, I did something they weren't ready for. Now they're leaving desperate messages. Please, this isn't what we wanted. So I'm not even sure where to start with this because I feel like I'm losing my mind. The more I replay it, I guess what threw me off was how my mom was acting weird on the phone. Like usually, she's all about getting the family together, especially if I'm in a tight spot, but this time she kept dodging stuff. I lost my place a week ago. Not an eviction or anything. Landlord needed the space back, long story, whatever. And I called my parents to see if I could stay for literally 2 weeks, just till I figured it'd be awkward, but, like, not impossible. She goes, "Oh, the house is a mess right now. Your dad and I are both so busy, you know how it is, and there's just a lot going on." I was like, "What's going on?" And she starts talking about how the water heater is acting up and my dad's friend is coming over to fix stuff, and it's not a good time. She actually got annoyed when I pushed, like I was being selfish for even asking. It felt off, but I let it go for a day. The next day, I tried again with Dad, and he just said the same thing, like, "Sorry, it's not a good time. We've got a full house. Your sister is back for a bit, and her stuff's everywhere. The guest room's got boxes, etc. I got a little pissed hearing that because I'm not a stranger and I'm not a total leech. I offered to help out with bills, groceries, whatever. He just shot me down and sounded done with it. I let it go, but TBH, I was annoyed and confused. So I crash at a friend's place, nothing fancy, just a futon in his living room, and start scrambling on Zillow like a maniac. 2 days later, I get a DM from Miranda, my sister, which is weird because we don't text a ton unless it's memes or something stupid. She goes, "Hey, just FYI, Reese is back." I thought she meant like in town or something, but no, she meant back at the house, in my old room. Now, I gotta give some backstory on Reese. He and Miranda dated forever, but it was always a mess. He cheated on her twice, that we know of. Plus, he's the dude who got drunk at Christmas and called my mom a useless drunk to her face in front of everyone, then stormed out after slamming the door. Nobody wanted him around after that, and even Dad said he was done with him. But, apparently, he's too good to let go, I guess. I texted my dad asking if it was true. He left me on read for, like, 3 hours, then called. He didn't even try to deny it. He said, "Yeah, Reese needed a place. He's going through a rough patch, and we're trying to help him get back on his feet." I asked, "So you've got room for him, but not for your own son?" He goes, "Yeah, well, Reese is still a better man than you'll ever be." Just like that. I literally laughed. I asked Mom if she agreed, and she just said, "We trust him more than we'll ever trust you." Not even flinching, like she'd been waiting to say it. I know I probably should have just hung up, but I couldn't let it go. I asked if Miranda knew about this, and Mom said, "She's fine with it. She knows what Reese has been through." I texted Miranda, and she just sent me this long rant about how she can't believe they let him back in. And she's not fine, but she can't do anything about it. I guess nobody's listening to her either. I honestly lost it at that point. I drove over just to see it for myself. I knocked, Dad opened the door, and he just stood there, like I was a stranger selling something. I asked if I could at least grab my stuff from my old room. He tells me there's nothing left in there. It's all boxed up in the garage. I could take it, but I can't come inside. I heard Reese's voice in the background, like laughing at something on his phone, and IDK, something snapped. I told them, "Don't expect me to come back. Ever? You made your choice?" Dad just shrugged. Mom tried to say something, but I cut her off. She started crying, but not like actual tears, more like she was mad I was making a scene. I grabbed my stuff from the garage. Miranda came out, tried to apologize, said she had no say in anything, and when Reese saw me, he just looked right through me like he'd already won or something. I told him to watch his mouth, and he just smirked. I slammed the trunk and got in my car. Dad said, "Don't bother coming here again." I said, "Yeah, don't worry, I won't." Mom was yelling at me from the porch, but I just drove off. Now, I'm still in total disbelief. Like, I knew they always liked Reese for some reason. They always made excuses for him even when he was treating Miranda like crap. It's always been that way. Like I'm the backup plan, the one they blame when something goes wrong. I think Dad always resented that I never really fit his idea of what a son should be. He's old school, wants someone who takes orders, doesn't talk back, whatever. I've never been that guy. He never even tried to hide it, just got more blunt about it as I got older. Mom just goes along with whatever he says, backs him up when he's being an ass, then cries about family falling apart when it blows up. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pissed. Like, I can't believe they'd rather have a guy who literally called my mom names at dinner and cheated on their daughter living in their house instead of their own son. And now they're acting like I'm the one tearing the family apart just because I don't want to be treated like crap. I know I should probably just move on, but IDK? I'm not really built that way. It's not just about forgiveness or whatever. It's just, if they want to pick sides, fine, let's see how that works out for them. I'm not letting it go this time. I've got a plan, and if they think I'm just going to disappear and let them forget about it, they're in for a surprise. I'll update soon. Update 1. So I wasn't going to post again this soon, but NGL, the last few days have been so off the rails I can't really keep it to myself. Stuff got way messier than I thought. Not even in a dramatic movie way, just like weirdly petty and real. I'm not even mad anymore, just sort of done, but I want to lay it all out so people can see how it actually plays out when you finally snap on family that treats you like crap. So after the whole showdown at my parents', see my last post if you missed it, I got replaced in my own house by my sister's loser ex, Reese, who's managed to cheat on Miranda twice and call my mom names at dinner and still got invited back while I was told the house was too full. I was honestly just trying to keep my head above water. Friends' futon, basic groceries, all my stuff in the trunk, and my phone blowing up with random family group chat drama. The weirdest thing was how normal my parents acted, like nothing happened. Mom would text me about random stuff, like, did I know the password to the Netflix account? Or did I have any idea where the old blender ended up? Nothing about what went down, just like business as usual. I stopped answering. Then the other shoe drops. I get a call from my dad, and he's not angry, just tired. He wants me to swing by and help him with something in the garage because Reese doesn't know how to work the tools right. I almost laughed at that. I told him I'm not available, and he gets all cold again, says he'll figure it out. Next day, Miranda texts me that she's stuck dealing with both Reese and Dad bickering about the lawnmower, and Mom's having a meltdown about the dishwasher leaking again. I'm just shaking my head at this point. So, a little background for people who asked. My dad's never liked that I don't do what he says without questioning him. He's always needed to be the boss, and if you push back, he'll zero in on whatever he thinks makes you weak. I've got my own life. I'm not married, no kids. I'm not the legacy guy he wanted. Reese is the golden boy because he's good at acting like he's listening to Dad, even if he's just using him for a place to crash. Mom is in her own world. She'll defend Dad to the end, but she checks out whenever there's an argument, and then later tries to guilt-trip me for not keeping the peace. Honestly, I think they keep people like Reese around just to have someone to fix or feel superior to, since they can't control me. Anyway, back to the escalation. After I made it clear I'm not coming by to help, the little things started piling up. Mom called again, this time asking if I could send her $50 for groceries. Just for now. She said they were a little short because they had to buy Reese new work boots. I laughed, said no, and she hung up on me. Then I get a Facebook message from my aunt, super vague, asking if everything's okay at home. I didn't even know my mom had told her anything. But apparently Mom's been telling everyone I abandoned the family in a crisis. I sent my aunt the real story. She just replied, wow, and said she'd call me later. Miranda finally snapped and called me, half crying, half pissed. She says Reese is treating the house like a free hotel. He's not helping with anything, and Dad just yells at her if she complains. She's stuck because she doesn't have the money to move out again right now, and Mom won't take her side. She said the last straw was when Reese invited his friend over without asking, and they spilled beer all over Dad's old recliner. Dad yelled at Miranda for not managing the situation. She told him to handle his own problems and slammed the bathroom. I told Miranda she could crash with me for a few days if she needed to, but she said she couldn't leave Mom alone because Mom gets anxious whenever things blow up. I get it, but NG, I'm tired of being the one everyone calls when things go sideways and then gets ignored when I need anything. It's always been like this. I'm the one who helps move furniture, sets up their Wi-Fi, deals with the bills when they forget to pay, all that. But if I ask for anything, suddenly there's no room, or it's not a good time, or I'm selfish. So I decided I'm not just going to ignore them. I'm going to make it so they can't ignore me either. I started by texting both my parents a list of all the stuff I've paid for or fixed for them over the past few years. Everything from the new router to the time I bought them a new microwave when theirs broke and they just forgot to pay me back. I told them if they needed help, they could start by paying me back for all that. Mom tried to call. I sent it to voicemail. Dad texted back one word, childish. I started telling the truth to anyone who asked. When my uncle called about family drama, I told him flat out, they kicked me out for Reese. He didn't believe me at first, so I sent him the screenshot from Miranda's text. He just went silent, then said he'd talk to my dad. I don't think that's going to help, but whatever. I'm not playing the secret keeper game anymore. The best part? Mom keeps texting me asking for help with little things, like the tax forms or fixing the Wi-Fi again. I just say, sorry, figure it out. I'm done being the backup plan. Miranda keeps apologizing for how they're acting, but I tell her it's not her fault. She says she might finally move out for good. I hope she does. Reese, for his part, is just coasting. He tried to DM me on Instagram with some passive-aggressive BS about not holding grudges and being the bigger man. I told him if he ever tried to talk to me again, I'd tell everyone exactly what he said about my mom at Christmas. He blocked me. So now things are just like awkward and tense. Nobody in the family knows what to say to each other. Dad is mad because nobody is stepping in to fix his mess. Mom is embarrassed because people are finding out what really happened, and she can't play the victim anymore. Miranda is stuck, but at least she's not pretending things are fine. Reese is still there, but he keeps his head down. I guess this is what happens when you stop playing nice. And I'm not done yet. If they think I'm just gonna fade out, they're gonna see what happens when I actually push back for more soon, if people want to hear how it goes. Update 2. So I didn't expect to be updating again this soon, but TBH, it's getting kinda wild now, and I honestly can't tell if I'm being too petty or just finally standing up for myself for once. Maybe both. Anyway, stuff's snowballing. So a thing I noticed first, my dad started calling me early mornings, like before I'd even had coffee. He never does that unless he wants something. At first it was, "Can you come help with the gutters?" or "Remind me how to reset the Wi-Fi." And when I say nah, he acts like I'm the unreasonable one. But then it's mom texting 2 hours later asking if I can just swing by with some groceries. Or do I still have the spare key to the shed? Or can I pay the electric bill this month because we're a little tight? Like I'm still on the hook for all the stuff I did before, even though they straight up told me I wasn't welcome. I just ignore most of it, but NGL, it's annoying how quickly they go from acting like I'm not family to treating me like their personal assistant again. I think what really got me was Reese. So apparently he's living there rent-free, barely talks to anyone, spends most of his time in my old room on his phone. Miranda called me and told me he's eating all the food my mom buys, doesn't help with dishes, and when dad tells him to do something, he just shrugs. I guess dad can't yell at him the way he does with me. Which, LOL. She said the other night Reese brought in some random girl and they were being loud, and mom told him to keep it down, so Reese just laughed and said if she doesn't like it, she can go out for a walk. Miranda said mom actually slapped him for that, but then dad defended Reese, said he's going through a lot. Miranda slammed her door and didn't come out till morning. I asked her why she puts up with it, and she just says she can't leave mom alone with both of them, but she's saving up. Meanwhile, I started thinking about all the stuff I'm still involved in. I'm not talking about streaming passwords or basic crap. I mean bills, utilities, the stuff I set up for them because they never bothered to learn. I'm technically the account holder on a bunch of their stuff because dad never trusted online payments and always made me do it. And mom doesn't even know how to use the electric company's website, so every month it's me moving money around, paying bills, updating stuff, making sure they don't get shut off. I realized if I just stopped, they'd have no clue what to do. Not illegal, not even mean, just handing it back to them. So I texted dad and told him I'm removing myself from all the bills by the end of the month. He said if I do that, I'll regret it. I said he should have thought about that before telling me I wasn't good enough for my own family. Blocked him after that. Mom texted me a wall of guilt-trippy stuff, like I'm punishing her for no reason, but also asking for my Hulu password in the same breath. I ignored it. The fun part is, as soon as I stopped paying for stuff, things started falling apart. Miranda called me after the power got cut for non-payment. Mom was screaming at Reese for not contributing. Reese was yelling at Miranda for not warning him. And Dad was outside kicking the trash can. Miranda tried to call me for help, but I told her sorry, I'm not getting in the middle anymore. She got mad and hung up. Mom tried to get my aunt to call me and talk sense into me. My aunt called. I told her what happened. She said she doesn't blame me, but I should be the bigger person. I laughed and said, yeah, I was the bigger person for years. Where did that get me? Dad actually showed up at my friend's place one morning, just knocked on the door like I was going to hand over cash. I told him he could leave or I'd call the cops. He tried to push past me and I shoved him back outside. He called me a disgrace and left. My friend was like, bro, never seen a grown man act like that. I just shook my head. Now I'm getting texts from random family members, half of them acting like I'm the bad guy, the other half saying they always knew my parents were like this. Honestly, I don't care at this point. I told everyone the same thing. I'm not their doormat anymore. If they want to see what life is like without me holding everything together, fine, let them. The best part is, since Reese is there, my parents are stuck. They can't kick him out without admitting they were wrong about him. Dad won't do it because he's too stubborn, and Mom won't do it because she's too embarrassed. Miranda's just counting the days till she can bounce. Reese keeps trying to DM me with passive-aggressive stuff. Like if I'd just get over myself, things would be easier for everyone. I blocked him everywhere. I heard from Miranda that Dad's been asking around the neighborhood for odd jobs to help pay the bills. Mom's been borrowing money from relatives. Reese tried to get a job but lasted like 3 shifts and quit. Now he mostly just stays in my old room and yells at Miranda if she uses the bathroom too long. So yeah, I guess this is what happens when you finally hit back. It's not even revenge, it's just letting them feel what it's like to not have me there to fix everything. I'm not even sorry. If they want to make me the scapegoat, let them handle life without me. And for everyone saying just let it go, cut them off and move on, nah. They made this bed. Now they can sleep in it. I'm just getting started. We'll update when it gets worse, and knowing my family, it will. Final update. So it's been about a year since the whole thing started, and I figured I'd post again since I've been getting random DMs asking for an update. Not gonna lie, I didn't expect things to drag out this long or get as messy as they did, but I guess that's what happens when people dig in instead of just admitting they screwed up. If you read the last posts, you know the basics, but I'll try to keep this clean for anyone new. First weird thing was, after I dropped out of all their bills and stopped answering their calls, things at the house didn't just go quiet. It was the opposite. Group chats blew up, Dad kept calling from different numbers, Mom left these long voicemails like borderline unhinged. Dad even showed up at my friend's place again, pounding on the door and yelling until the neighbor told him to leave or she'd call the cops. He left after that, but not before saying I was dead to the family. Classic dad move TBH. I got a spam of texts from Miranda about Reese. Apparently after I cut my parents off, Reese started bringing more of his friends over, messing up the kitchen, letting people eat everything, and then acting like it was no big deal. Mom would scream at him and Reese would just ignore her or say she was being dramatic. One night they got into it and Miranda says Mom actually tried to slap Reese again, but he blocked her and pushed her back, and Dad just yelled at Miranda to control her boyfriend. Miranda slammed her door. Reese punched a hole in the bathroom wall and then left for a week to clear his head. I guess Dad started sleeping in the living room after that. Nobody was talking to anyone. It's like the whole house was just people avoiding each other and blaming everyone else. Then came the money problem. Dad's been bad with money forever. Always some reason the mortgage is late or the water bill gets missed. I guess he always figured I'd bail them out like I used to. But now, with Reese eating everything and Miranda refusing to help with bills, things spiraled. Mom started calling relatives asking for loans, and Dad tried to guilt-trip Miranda into giving up her savings. She told him to get lost and slammed her bedroom door so hard a picture fell off the wall. Reese finally bounced for good after Dad tried to get him to pay rent. He just packed up, took a bunch of my old stuff, including my old PS4 and a couple of shoes that weren't even his, and left without saying a word. Miranda texted me about it and said she was glad, but Dad blamed her for Reese leaving. More yelling, more drama. Miranda started crashing at her friend's house more and more, sometimes not coming home for days. I told her she could stay with me, but she said she needed to finish saving up before making any moves. So meanwhile, I'm living my life not hearing from them except for the random angry text. Then, about 3 months ago, I get this official-looking letter in the mail. Turns out the house is in trouble. I never co-signed, but I did help them refinance like 2 years ago by explaining the paperwork and setting up the online stuff. Not signing, just walking them through because Dad hates computers. Now the mortgage is months behind, and they're getting those warning letters. Dad tries to get Miranda to help. She refuses. So does Mom's brother when they ask. Dad leaves me this voicemail basically saying if I ever cared about this family, I'd help them save the house. I don't answer for like a month. Then Miranda calls me totally out of breath, says Mom's crying every night. Dad's threatening to just let the bank take the place and move into a trailer. Miranda sounded half mad, half scared. I asked if she was safe and she said yeah, she's not getting involved. She's just tired of the drama. I told her again she could come stay with me. No pressure. She said maybe, but not yet. Then the voicemails started getting desperate. Mom sobbing, Dad yelling, both of them saying they were sorry. They didn't mean it like that. Can I just help them pay the mortgage for 1 month, etc. Then it turned into, please just come home. We need you. This isn't what we wanted. I didn't reply. Not out of spite, just I was so over it. I'd offered to help, to be family, and they picked some loser who treated everyone like garbage just because he was easy to control. I told myself I was done, and I meant it. So here's where I guess I finally drew the line. I called the mortgage company, not to pay, but to make sure nothing was in my name. No old paperwork with my info, nothing that could come back on me. It's clean. I told them to send all notices direct to my parents, not me. Then I called my parents, first time in months. Dad answered. I could hear Mom crying in the background. He started in with the guilt trip, but I cut him off and told him I wasn't coming back. I wasn't bailing them out. And if they tried using my info for anything, I'd block them for good. Mom started begging, saying this isn't what she wanted. But I just said, you made your choice when you picked Reese. You wanted me gone? You got it. Then I hung up. Miranda texted me later, said they were freaking out, threatening to sell everything and start over somewhere else. I told her again she could stay with me if she wanted. She said she would think about it. So that's where it stands. My parents are losing the house, Reese is gone, Miranda's half out the door, and I'm not going back. They can spam me with voicemails and messages all they want. I don't answer. They made it clear a year ago who they trusted, who they picked, and I'm not interested in being anyone's backup plan again. People always talk about forgiveness and family is family, but FR, sometimes you just have to burn the bridge so they stop thinking you'll ever come back. And if you're wondering if I feel bad, nah, they're grown. Let them figure it out. That's it. I guess I'll see what happens next, but for now, I'm out.